What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Doing Things with E-Dub. Today, just hanging out on a Sunday. Thought about making some breakfast, thought about doing some grits. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some grits, some sausage, some bacon. We're gonna show you how to do it. All right? So you can see, I can adjust the camera here a little bit. I'm using this little single burner here today. Just trying it out. This thing is awesome. As you can see, it already has the water boiling and everything. I like it. So we're gonna try it out, see how it does for the grits, and see what happens. So let's go ahead and pour some grits in there, and I use just some Quaker Oats grits, little 5-minute grits. What I like to do is I like to stir them in as I'm pouring. That way they don't get clumpy on you. And you don't have to worry about eating clumps of grits. Now, I get people all the time asking me how do I make my grits? What's the secret? How do I get them to be so cheesy? You know, how much sugar do I put in them? We're gonna do it together today. So the first thing that you wanna realize is you always wanna have more water than grits, because the grits are gonna cook up by themselves. But if you have more grits than water, what's gonna happen is they're gonna evaporate all that water, and you're gonna have grits that are chunky, you know, they're gonna be really gritty, and it's not gonna actually give you that full effect that you're looking for when you eat grits. So key things to remember is not a lot of grits, more water. You keep an eye on them. Make sure they don't start getting too thick. If they start getting too thick on you, all you do is just add a little bit of water. That's it. Just add a little bit of water. Now I don't add anything in until I'm done really getting them to the consistency that I'm looking for. So I have some sharp cheddar here that I'll add in there later on. And then I'll throw some butter in there as well. Salt and pepper. I got a 1/4 cup of sugar I'm gonna add in there as well. We're gonna go with some sausage and some bacon that I already cooked off here. So I'm already done. We just kind of skipped that process. So I already have sausage and some bacon underneath there. Already done. We'll show you what that finished product looks like. So you can see it's starting to bubble up real nice. So what I'll do is I'll start stirring it in really well. And probably go ahead and turn this down. But I kind of want to cook them. I kind of want to cook them on this thing to see how fast I can make them and how hot it actually needs to be to get them to the consistency. Now I'm running this thing on about 11, about 10.5, 11 right now. And as you can see, it has a nice boil. So what I want to do is, as it starts to continue to thicken up, I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to maybe like a 5 or a 6. And I'll really be looking to, add my butters and cheese and stuff in there at that point once it gets to a certain consistency. But right now it's bubbling, it's doing what it's doing. So we're gonna let that keep cooking. While we're doing that, take a peek at the shirt. Once again, my guys over at Art History hooked it up. Nice fabrics. They keep the little tag on the back. I think they have one right here too. It's a nice touch. I mean, it is a really nice shirt. It's soft. Got the Indian head chief on it. Check those guys out. There'll be a link in the description box. Check them out. Let me know what you think. Good guys over there. They'll hook you up. If they can't find something or they don't have it, they can put you in the right direction, get it. All right, so now we're starting to spill out of the pot a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down to about, let's do a 7, see what happens on 7. Now what you're gonna see me doing is I'm lifting the pot away right now. I'm lifting the pot away because I wanna take away all that splashing. So see how I put it right back on there and it goes right back to bubbling and splashing? You don't really want that. That means you have your pan up too hot. So let's let it go ahead and warm down to about what the 7 looks like right now. And add it back on there. All right. right, so it's still boiling at about a 7, but you can see the consistency is getting a little thick. So let's bring the camera a little closer so we can see that consistency in there. So I might be able to get away with taking it down to maybe about a 3 or a 4. And let's see what it does. So I turn it down to 3.5 now. So let's see. And it's still bubbling. It's still boiling. As you can see, it's getting thick. Look at it. A lot of times I'll take it all the way down to where it evaporates most of the water, and I'll just let it, you know, be as thick as possible, and then I'll add just a little bit of water just to loosen it up. But that varies, you know, if it's for an order or something, and you know, they may not want to eat it right away or right then and there, I might let it go ahead and thicken up. That way when I go ahead and pour it in the plate or the container that I'm using, it's not runny. But if it's something where I'm just making breakfast like today for myself and everybody else, I'll let it be a little bit runny. But as you let the eggs cool off, they will go ahead, not eggs, if you let the grits cool off, they will go ahead and thicken up by themselves. And then they're ready to go, they're ready to serve. Now this is still staying just a little too bubbly and splashing for me. So I'm gonna actually turn it down some more. Or let's see, or is that fine at a 3? No, it's still bubbling. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down to about a 1. Yeah, and it's still bubbling at a 1. Let's go to the napkins, go ahead and wipe this off a little bit. That's good stuff. You know, if you can keep it hot at that level, that's good stuff. So it's at a 1 right now, and you know, you can hear it. It's still popping. So maybe just when you start your wort, start it at a 10, maybe a 9, let it get warmed up, and then work your way to this consistency. Man, that's hot. I mean, it's really still bubbling, and it's on a 1. Yeah, that's still bubbling at a 1. So what I'm seeing here is I have to keep continuing to lift it from this pan so it doesn't keep bubbling like that. But here's the consistency that we're looking for. That's what we're going for right there. It should pour nice and easy like that. You should see that it's thickening up a lot. And as you keep adding it on there, it'll continue to thicken. Now, I'm not going to add any water to it because once I put the butter in, the butter's going to give it that moisture that it needs. So I will let it get a little bit thicker, and then I'm going to go ahead and start adding in my salts, peppers, sugars, and stuff, and we'll cook those down and just let it get a little bit thicker. While we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get a plate ready for a thumbnail while that's cooking. When you're trying to do something, everything else falls. It's funny how that works. All right, so now we got our plate set up. And we're just gonna do a demo plate here. It's gonna do a couple pieces of sausage. Let's do 3 sausage. And we'll do a couple strips of bacon. All right. Now, I would normally put eggs on there, scrambled eggs or some egg whites or something, but I'm not going to do any egg whites for this video. I'm just going to do the grit sausage and bacon. If the bacon will cooperate. All right, so now that's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and add our pepper in there with our trusty Uline salt and pepper shakers. Check that video out if you haven't already checked it out. And I go with the Himalayan salt, pink Himalayan, in my shakers. You can do whatever salt that you like. I like the pink Himalayan. It gives it a nice little touch. Not too much, but it's just enough. You don't need to add a lot to it. So we have salt and pepper in there. Now we're gonna go with our sugar. 1/4 cup of sugar is what I use for maybe a pan of grits. And that's not halfway, that's like right below halfway. So obviously the more grits that you have, you know, if you are into sugar, and you like sugar in your grits, the more sugar you want to put. So maybe if you had a half a pan of grits, you might want to do a 1/2 cup of sugar. All right, easy enough. Again, I know a lot of people don't like sugar in their grits. I do. That's how I was raised. That's how I was taught how to make them. I think they taste phenomenal once you put the cheese and stuff in there. Tastes really good. All right, so check that out. Look at that consistency. It's getting nice and thick, so we'll let that sit for a second. And then come over and we'll add our butter over there. And your butter really, you can add as much butter as you want. I like buttery, cheesy grits, so I'm not stingy with the butter. Not stingy. If you're somebody who has high cholesterols and you know you need to stay away from that kind of stuff, this video is probably not going to do any good for you because you're probably going to have high cholesterol. But you don't care about any of that stuff, not worrying about it, and you just want some really good food, some grits, some sausage, some bacon, you know, eggs, toast, all that good stuff. All that stuff that's bad for you, basically. Here it is. This is what it looks like. So you can see the butter is melting perfectly in there. You almost don't even see it. And I'm gonna use the leftover little bit of sharp cheddar that I have, but I'll probably end up adding some more cheese in there because I like my grits with a lot of cheese in them. So we'll go ahead and dump the rest of that bag in there. Get this guy out of the way. Let's see what they look like when we go ahead and mix this in here. Oh yeah, that's nice. And what we're looking for is a color change. You almost want it to be a goldish yellow color with your grits. And that's kind of what we're working with right there, see? It's almost a goldish yellow color right there. Almost looks like butter. So as we let that cheese go ahead and continue to melt, I think I'm gonna whip up some eggs real quick while this sits here. All right. So I can take that off and set this to the side and use the same burner while I whip up the eggs. So we have some eggs here. Go ahead and crack these a while. Just gonna use a standard silver bowl. And I think I might do some egg whites for myself here. Yep. You got a shell in there. Let's pop these guys out a while. We don't need all those in there. Get us a spoon. Grab that little piece. Come on, you're out of there. All right, back to the business. And just like I told you before, you can do egg whites really simple. It does take a little bit of finesse to do them, but to each his own. Doesn't take very long for you to be able to do it. So now we have our egg whites ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these grits off. Well, maybe I'll let this cheese melt down just a little bit more because it's still a little bit chunky in there. And we'll do a taste test here in a second to see if they're just how we want them. Now I did turn it down to that 1, like I said, so that's why you don't see it sizzling, popping anymore, and that's probably why the cheese isn't melting as fast, but you can see the consistency. That's what you're looking for when you make your grits. That's good stuff right there, that's good. That's gonna taste amazing with, you know, sausage, eggs, all that mixture in there. It's gonna taste amazing. We got our pan that we want to use for eggs. And we have a spatula that we're going to use. And that's that. We'll give that another second on those grits before we pull them off to the side. Turn this back just a little bit so we can see. Because really you don't want any clumps of anything in your grits. You want to make sure everything's melted, everything's, even in there. I know that's how I am. I don't know. I know some people eat them clumpy, or they won't mind chunks of cheese in there and stuff like that. I want it to all be consistent. I want it to all flow nice and easy. Sometimes you might just want to do a bowl of grits. You might want to crumble up some bacon or crumble up some sausage and just sprinkle it on top. Maybe add some eggs in there, and that's cool too. But that's not what we're doing today. I'm just going for that nice consistency that we already have there. And there it is. All right, so we'll set that to the side and we'll let that cool. So while we're doing that, we're gonna turn it back up a notch. I think a 7 will be good. Got our pan on there. We're gonna add some oil in there for these egg whites. We're gonna throw these egg whites on here real quick. And see how fast we can get these done. Maybe even scramble up some eggs since we have a couple eggs left over here. Looks good to me. So we'll check them out. We'll check them out and see how that's going. I can hear that pan starting to get hot. Maybe I'll go ahead and do about a 9 for that. So I crack these eggs and let that thing continue to sizzle. Alright. And your eggs, obviously people do eggs differently. You can do them however you want to do them. I just add a little bit of milk to my eggs. Not too much, just a dab. That's about as much as I would add to my eggs, if you can see. Just a little bit, not too much. All right, so our pan feels like it's getting a little bit hot. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the egg whites in there. Put that to the side. You can see it's already starting to turn white. So how about we turn it up to a 11 and see what happens. See how fast these cook off at 11. I recommend getting a spatula that's bendable, something flexible, especially if you're gonna do egg whites or anything that may or may not stick to the pan. Now this is a non-stick pan. I think I picked this guy up at Sam's Club, maybe Costco, one of them, but they do sell non-stick pans and they are perfect for making eggs, or perfect for doing grits and stuff like that. I make my grits in the Paula Deen pan. That's one of my favorite pans to use. Great quality pans. I know they're hard to come by. They're sold out online almost everywhere, but if you have one of these, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, so check out the eggs now. Starting to be white. And what you're going for is you just want them to be white all around the edges there. And I can let it cook all the way through, but what I'll do is I'll start moving the edges around before I start letting it cook all the way through. Just to see do I need to add any more oil, and I do, because you want it to slide. So you add just a little bit of oil so you can get underneath there. You can loosen everything up, and that bad boy will start to slide. Now for this, I'm gonna add salt and pepper again. And if you see my other breakfast video, I like to add hot sauce. So we're gonna come with some Tabasco sauce. Good stuff for eggs. Now just do a couple drops. Nothing major. Damn. That's all you need. It's good stuff right there. So now we can get underneath there, see where we need to loosen it up. And it's probably about right there. And now that we have it loosened, we can go for our flip. And the trick to the flip is you want to get it as close to the edge as possible before you pull it up and flip it. All right? See if we can do it on our first try. There we go. And that's all that it is. Repeat that process. Salt, pepper. If it starts to stick on you, just a little bit of more olive oil, and nothing major. So let's check on our grits. They are starting to thicken up now. They're not as easy to stir. See it? See now it's falling like that. That's perfect. That's what you're going for right there. And so what it is as they cool off, they just get thicker. And this is perfect, you know, because all you're going to do is you're just going to reheat it, and you're going to eat them like that. That's all you're going to do. All right. So now we have our pan ready. We're going to go ahead and add some eggs in there. We're going to do some scrambled eggs. I may just do another dab of olive oil. Just another dab. Go ahead and grab a spatula. I use a spatula when I do my eggs. And now you're whipping those eggs up. I know it's real ghetto. I'm using the Cool Whip container, but believe it or not, these containers come in handy. A lot of people throw these containers away. I reuse them. All right, get that out the way. So now we have our eggs. And because we're on about 11, I'm going to go ahead and turn it down to about a 7, because you don't need your eggs that high. And what will happen is your eggs will burn on you if you have them too high. So scrambled eggs are pretty simple. It's all about keep away. Keep away from the edge of the pan. Keep away from the edge of the pan until they start getting thick and have a consistency where you can flip the eggs. Then you want to go ahead and get up in there and flip them. But as you can see, all I'm doing is just keeping it away from the edge, keeping it away from the edge. And as you see that, they're just getting thicker. They're starting to cook a whole lot more. And it's faster. Believe it or not, eggs are something that you can mess up very easily. I see people mess up eggs all the time. But staying with it and paying attention and making sure you have your eggs on the right heat, it's really hard to mess up eggs. Now we're not going to do cheesy eggs for this, but I may put like a piece of American cheese on there, or, you know, maybe pepper jack or something, or even provolone, or some shredded cheddar. Doesn't matter. So now this is the tricky part, where you gotta pay attention. Your eggs are done. So you can add your salt, pepper. You know, if you were gonna do cheese, go ahead and add the cheese in there. But you have to stay consistent. So you want to just scoop a little and flip. Scoop a little and flip. And what that does is that prevents your eggs from starting to brown on you. So we're going to grab another plate here, because we're going to plate up these eggs. See? Just pay attention to them and they won't turn brown on you. And those are nice, beautiful eggs. It's not going to get any better than that. Really should have put some cheese on them, but I'm going to leave them just like that. Alright, so they're ready to go. We'll put them on the pan. And then we'll come with some sausage, 2 pieces. We'll come with 2 pieces of bacon. Now what I like to do is, I like to build that bridge between my bacon and my eggs and my grits. Why? Because if the grits are still runny, now you're gonna have your grits running into your eggs. And I'm picky, so I like to separate my stuff like that, but a lot of people can mix it together. and do it like that if you choose. All right, so let's pour on some grits. Is they're ready to go? And we'll do two nice scoops there. Maybe a half a scoop. And there you go. Egg, sausage. Rotate that bad boy. Grits. Got your sausage with the bacon in there. That's perfect. That's what you're going for. Hey, it was a pleasure. I appreciate all y'all. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Click that like button so you can keep the algorithm moving. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're doing things over here. And as always, I'll see you next time and I'll catch you. And we'll keep doing things with E-Dub. I'm out of here. Y'all have a blessed day.